So scaling law is something I think if the audience is familiar with mathematics or even with engineering, in engineering, it's a very common thing because we often, use similarity theory or something to build models of a boat or a building or whatever that we then want to scale up and create the real thing. And so, and most of these, as well as in many models of physics and chemistry and so on, have this built-in similarity in them. So similarity means that there's a relationship between variables. Usually one of the variables is measuring the size of the object, which for a city, we typically use population, but we could use area and other things. So it gives you a sense of the size of the city. And then on the other side, you have the property that you want to measure, what's GDP or crime rates or number of roads or whatever, or area of roads or something. So basically, it's a simple relationship between those variables. What is interesting is that a scaling relationship, the reason it's called scaling, it's a simple, mathematically, it's a power law relationship. So it's something like GDP is equal to base GDP times population to some exponent. And this exponent is this number that's larger than one in this case, because then it increases faster than population. And then, of course, there are variations from city to city also that make this a statistical quantity. But the fact that it's like a power law has a very important consequence, which these are also called scaling variant laws or scaling variant relations. It means that there's no specific scale, no size of the city or no size of the object that we're looking at that's special. It's basically a relationship that relates what a city is at a certain population scale to what it is at a different population scale. So it's a relative law, if you will. It's not an absolute law that it becomes a city after it has 1 million people. It means that a city of 1 million people has a relationship to a city of 100,000 people and of 10 million people in terms of the proportionalities. So these exponents essentially just measure, as we used in language, by what percentage the variable of interest is changing relative to the variable of size. So when you double the size of the city, this happens or that happens in percent. So that's what that means. And that kind of is very consequential because it says something that's very important and powerful and surprising, I think, which is that cities don't have a particular size. Think about that. So you could have a city that's quite small. Obviously at some point you have one person and no longer a city, but it can be quite small. And then it could be in principle, as long as the conditions of the theory, which of course at some point breaks down, but as long as the balance, the costs and benefits and so on would keep being satisfied, you could create a city of any